Today, we're going to be talking about human capital and financial capital. I hope you enjoy. Today, we're going to change gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about human capital and financial capital. It's something that intuitively we understand, but oftentimes when I'm having a conversation with an individual or a client, it's something that they've never really brought to the front of their brain and visualized, but it makes a lot of sense whenever they see it put on paper. So if you think about human capital is your ability to produce. This is not something necessarily that you think a whole lot about, but we all take it for granted. So if I have some type of skill, or it might just be simply my physical ability to provide labor, then I get compensated for that. So my ability to earn revenue would be classified as human capital. Financial capital, on the other hand, is something that we're very familiar with, because when we think of financial capital, we think of money, rightfully so. So if you look at this little graph that I've drawn, or this little diagram, at the top, you'll see human capital and 100%. Down at the bottom, you'll see financial capital, 0%. So for most of us, when we get out of school, at best, we hope to start at 0. So we have no financial capital. We have, on the other hand, we have 100% of our human capital capacity. But if we look at this line, which is represented with time, what happens over time? Well, over time, our human capital decreases until ultimately we get to the point at some point in the future, for most of us, where we have no human capital left. So it starts at 100% and then it begins to decline over time. On the other hand, if we're doing things right, what we want to do as our human capital declines, we want to be growing our financial capital so that at some point out in the future, when we have no more human capital, we have the ability to have our money work for us. So our money produces revenue and lifestyle and our ability to earn a living. Now, as we look at that, that's kind of the perfect world, but unfortunately, life isn't perfect. So one of the things that can happen is our human capital doesn't always decline on that very steady trajectory. For some of us, we can be rocking along, and then all of a sudden, our human capital goes right to 0. Now, what would that represent? Well, it represents your inability to earn income. So maybe you became disabled, or a person passes away. So they thought they were going to live into their 70s or 80s or 90s, but that doesn't always happen. Somebody, passes away at 40 years old or at 35 years old. Well, that human capital just immediately went to 0. And that's where insurance comes into play, where we are protecting our human capital as we build the financial capital. On the other hand, the financial capital side, sometimes we start growing the financial capital and then we want something and we tap into that. And then we start growing it again and something comes up and we tap into it. And we spend our whole life, doing this. The negative to this is, at some point, when we run out of human capital, if we don't have our financial capital built up where it can replace our ability to earn an income, effectively what we've done is we've spent our future. But now it's too late to do anything about it. So these are the kind of things that, when you're looking at the most basic, fundamental, foundational things about creating a plan for yourself, we're trying to protect your human capital and your ability to create and earn, and then build your financial capital. And the neat thing is, there are some tools out there that'll allow you to do both, where you can actually be protecting your human capital while simultaneously building and growing your financial capital. If you have questions about this or anything else related to insurance, retirement planning, financial planning, and anything along that line, don't hesitate to give Terry or myself a call here at Westside Advisors and Insurance Services. I hope you have a great week.